Right, today I'm going to do a very old technique that I remember from card making days. It was Sheena Dougless. I shall post her original video. Sorry, I'm in a bit of a mess. And but I think she might have redone it again in lockdown, if I remember rightly. I saw it pop up one day, but it's an old technique, you know, for leather-like. And I usually use craft card stock, about 300 GSM. But I thought I'd give this green folder a go. It's quite old, really, and I just thought it'd be nice to see if we could get similar sort of effect on this. So I got this one, glycerin, okay, from the chemist. It's so cheap, honestly. And I mix it. It's 1 to 6, okay, 1 part glycerin to 6 parts water. Now I don't measure, I just pop it in, and you'll find it needs to feel, you know, so I just put a bit in here and then I filled it up. It's just that I'm so used to it. So you have to sort of, I don't even know whether this will work. So like I said, I usually do it with craft stock. So you spray it and you rub it in and you can feel the glycerine in it. So, and you can get this bit quite wet, but not saturated, if you know what I mean. And you don't want to rough up the edge, the paper too much, or else it'll be bubbly. All right, so sort of let the glycerine just glide over it and rub it in. It'd be nice to see what happens with this. Yeah, it's just starting to bubble up there, you know, a little bit rough, so I'll leave that go for a minute and do the back. Let's give that a shake just in case it sinks to the bottom or anything. I'm not sure, because I would have thought it was heavier. I don't know, water, I don't know, glycerin might even float. Haven't got the most scientific brain, so please correct me if I'm wrong. I just find out things as I go along, what works and what don't work. Okay, starting to rub away the paper there. Just have a little bit more on there. It's not cut to size yet. I leave it a little bit bigger. So trim it down because sometimes the edges go a bit. So. Right, you'll know if it works. It becomes a little bit more flexible. I don't think that's done yet. Yeah, it's still a little bit. I might put a little tiny bit more in, because it's a difference in the cardstock as well. I'm so used to the other one, so you might have to play around with it. So I'm just gonna put a dollop in there. There we go. And I've done faux leather journal covers, you know, with tissue paper as well. I'm not sure whether I've done this. I'm sure I remember mentioning Sheena in a video, but you're talking most probably 5 or 6 years ago, so I'm sorry, I can't remember. It'll become all sort of malleable. So. I'm not rubbing very hard, I'm just gliding over the surface. I mean, I am getting a bit of this paper coming away with this cardstock, and it's not that thick. So, right, and I do want to scrunch it up, but I'm not sure whether that's a little bit too weak. Anyway, we'll see. Okay. I'm just doing it gently for a minute. Okay. And then okay. And this bit you have to be quite careful on, right? It is still fragile. All right, so just be gentle. See, I knew it was going to go there because I could see it was quite waterlogged. That's all right. Could add to the authenticity of it. But it's looking quite cool, isn't it? You can tell it's going to be okay. And I would reinforce the spine anyway when I make this into a journal cover. So that's fine. I always put a bit of fabric on that bit. So I'm going to dry that off a bit actually. Okay. Well, I usually use vintage photo and walnut stain and things like that on it. I'm wondering what colour I've got. I need a green. Just to emphasise that first. Whether that... Oh, peel paint. That might be quite nice. Just going to put a bit of this on a minute. Because I am going to go over with a darker colour. Okay, but I am going to put that on first. Okay. See what happens. I get totally drowned out with the darker colour, but we shall do that for now. Now, shall I spritz with water a bit more? No, I think that feels right actually. So I'll do it with water. I'm rubbing mine in a bit. I don't want to get my hands dirty. Okay, now I'm going to leave this on the radiator to dry. Okay, first. And we'll see what it's like then. Okay, that's near enough dry. Okay, and I like it. The green didn't do much. I didn't think it would, but it's added a little bit of something to it in areas. I'm going to go and try this one. This is quite an old one, so I'm hoping there's not too much on there. I'll just use one of my old ones here. And I'm just going to go sort of around the edges a bit, just to grunge this up a bit. And also get some of those peaks. Yeah, it's not much on there at all. So I do want to keep this colour green. I think that's quite nice for a change. Like I say, I'm used to doing the leather effect with craft cardstock and dyeing it totally, you know, leather colour. That. And I always think, start off lighter, you can always add more colour. Same with hairdressing. If you're too dark, then in the beginning, it's very hard to strip out the colour. So, not too bad with distress inks, because they are very forgiving, aren't they, if you add a bit of water. So, I am going to crunch up again. I'm going to have to be careful with that bit. That's funny, that bit there. Okay, right, I'm going to leave that to dry now. Okay, it's all nice and dry. Love it, I really do. I am gonna grunge it up more. I've got the other bit of the file folder, which I've cut to the size that I actually want. Okay, at the moment there's, you know, we've got quite a big score line there, but I will place something over that to stop that from bending, because then I've got, I think that's about, usually about an inch. Here we go, look, just over an inch, about one and 1/8 there. Okay, so I'm going to use that. And what size have I done that? About 4 and something, 4 and 1/8 by 9, I think. Yeah, I'm enjoying these sort of taller, longer journals. I mean, this is not excessive, you know. Some of them are really, really long, or tall, I should say. Oh, excuse me. Right, so I'm going to stick this to this to that, rather. I think I'll do it that way. Yeah, what's that? Yeah, that's the inside. Okay, and I'll do it that way. So I'm going to glue up one side. As you know, I will sew around mine and I will trim down after the actual other colour's slightly bigger, so that's fine. So I'm going to line up with this score line here. Oops, which is there. It's about the easiest way of doing it. Sorry if my head is in the way. There you go. It should all work together then. Yeah, that's fine because I'll trim all that down. That's great. It's fairly straight. Okay. I've left the crumply bit that went a bit funny. I actually really like that, so I'm leaving it. It doesn't, and yet it's the same folder. What it is, the other one is stretched a little, but it really doesn't matter. Let's have a look where that's going to go. No, we're all right. That looks quite good. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, the other one is stretched a bit, so let's put this down now. I'm actually going to take that out like that, because I quite like that. So I'll ink that up a bit more. Okay, yeah, that one sits on there all right. And that's just away from it, but by the time I grunge it up and all that, that's going to actually look really nice. And that's right on that edge, which looks really nice. But what I'm going to do is just take a little bit more away. Let's make a feature of it. Okay, like that. Okay. Right, I'll just go and trim that down. Right, I've just stitched around that now. Okay. And I will put in a bit of a false piece in here, like a file folder or anything to keep that from bending, even though that's actually not bad now. That's in there, that's pretty good. All right, it's still quite flexible, but I haven't done the, you know, the cover totally yet. Right, and I won't cover the inside until I've done that bit. Right, so what am I going to do then? I know what I'm going to do first. I'm going to do some more inking first. I'm going to use this tea stain one, actually. And I am going to go over it like that. Just, I didn't want to do any more to it until it was backed a bit, because it was quite fragile, because it was a lot thinner than the card that I usually use. So I'm just sort of making sure it stayed put, really. But I'm going to grunge that up quite a bit, I think. That's great. And a bit of water. Put it in a bit. It is feeling lovely. Right, what I want to do here is, right, I have a nice little stencil brush somewhere. I got off Lavina, and I think I can find it. I know I was going to lose that one. Oh, it's really great too. Never mind, I'll do it with the brush until I can find it. And I'm going to put some of this in there, actually. That's not going to work. I wonder if I can get... Yeah, I might have to do that when it's dry. That's not coming out at all. Ah, there it is. I have to go a bit darker in there. Yeah. What have I got? A bit of walnut. I've got a bit of walnut here. It's old as the hills, this one. Gosh. That's good. Don't think it takes much more on that one. There we go. I'm just adding some bits. With it damp, it'd be more it's stronger, so that's why I've done that. I'm sort of doing the bits that usually get a bit more aged on a book. Slightly go over that dark one as well. Yep, only a little bit. Okay. Right, you've got to stay here. Do not get lost. Right, I'm going to dry that, and then I'm going to seal it, I think, because I'm quite liking that. Yep. A little bit different again. Okay, I'm going to varnish it with this one. It's a water-based varnish. It's for furniture, but it's quite nice for paper as well. It's good for chalk paint. I've got the matte and I've got the gloss because it's really inexpensive. So just pop a bit in there. I'm hoping it'll keep it still flexible. I'm sure it will, but I'm just using the bit that's left. It's too dirty to put back, so there we go. Okay, leave that dry. I might just put more just there. There you go. Yep, brilliant. There's only a little bit left. Right, so we'll see what that's like once it's dry.